Hi everyone. My name is awesome Karolína Fiedler, and I welcome you to the third episode of my podcast. I have to improvise a bit today because my diaries are stuck who knows where between the Czech Republic, where they were sent from more than a week ago, and France, where I live. It was very short-sighted from me to think that international deliveries will be working at normal pace when there is raging pandemic all around the world. Yes, 99% of my journals are written in hand, and the stories that follow behind my last episode are having a blast at the moment, chatting up packages squeezed next to them in a truck on a highway somewhere. As Sheryl Sandberg, the COO of Facebook, says in her book, Lean In, Women, Work, and the Will to Lead, done is better than perfect. I am actually glad for this opportunity because I can talk to you a little bit more about this project and maybe even get some feedback from you. That would be great. As I mentioned in my first episode, the idea of creating this podcast is all very new to me. And unlike the old version of me, who always used to wait before getting a project out in the world, should make sure it was all perfect, done to the last detail, then started doubting it, and because of that, never sharing it with anyone else in the end. The new version just flings it out on the World Wide Web, denying myself the luxury of time necessary to create any doubts. That logically causes that it will need a lot of improvements as I go. I already got some great feedback from my friends, a few of them suggesting that I shouldn't read it because it makes me less believable. Great point. I promise to you that I will try to improve on that. Since I'm still very nervous and a much better writer than a spontaneous speaker, I prefer to write my thoughts down before I record myself. It also helps me say things that I otherwise may not be brave enough to say and admit out loud. If it's black and white, it is basically a done deal for me. I will practice though, I promise. Add more visuals and supporting sounds for the video. Another great point, which I could not agree with more. And as soon as I get a new laptop that is able to handle such complicated operations without freezing for 5 minutes each time, which will also allow me to learn how to do it properly, I will do it. Make it shorter. The length of each episode will be based on the length of each diary article. And since I classify the podcast as more of an audiobook with additional side notes of the present me, it is more than likely that the episodes will be over 10 minutes. I do understand if that is not your thing, though. I have never been good at sticking with one project for too long. I get bored, discouraged, lose inspiration, and instead of pushing through, I ditch it. This time is different. It is because I made a decision to stop being a wuss. Is that a word? If it is, I'm sure I spelled it wrong. And get one project done. To prevent myself from ditching it again, I made it as public as possible, and I keep forcing myself to tell every single person I come in contact with that I started a new podcast and release new episode on Spotify, YouTube, and now even Instagram each Sunday. Katerina, are you listening to this? Are you watching this on Instagram? You better, when after your intense nagging, I finally admitted that you were right all along and stopped avoiding the inevitable. Now it has to be done. As awkward as I feel, as much as the nasty, unsupporting bully version of me keeps bugging me, telling me that it is boring, it is lame, people will make fun of you, it will hurt your reputation. Hold on. Wait. What reputation? The nice girl who is a little weird and terrible with money. Yeah, I don't mind if this reputation gets hurt. I will much gladly teach it a lesson myself. Not the nice girl, though. I plan on staying nice. And weird, too, to be honest. Actually, I am starting to like my weirdness more and more. So the only change I will do here is to embrace it more. Give it my full support and permission. I am so fed up with the unauthentic me that I will embrace any change that comes my way that allows me to become 100% authentic. No bullshit. And I respect that many people won't like it. I, like many others, have fallen into the trap of thinking that the number of likes or positive comments give you a real feedback and defines how successful or popular you are. So this podcast can be understood as a therapy for myself. It is very nice to think that some people might be encouraged by it and allow themselves to be 100% authentic too. Or at least 1% more authentic today than they were yesterday. And another 1% tomorrow. Everybody wants to be real. I'm sure you all agree with that. And I know how hard it is to keep standing your ground when your natural, beautiful weirdness causes waves of destruction. But destruction doesn't have to be bad. Distraction lets fresh air in and makes space for magical things to happen. Some people might leave us because of that. New people will take their place. Or we inspire the people who left us and they will come back eventually. I have experienced all of this so far. The point I am trying to make is, it is impossible to go through a change like this alone, through anything really. Even when you isolate yourself out of fear, even when you feel as lonely as you've never felt before, people always surround us and help us go through it if we let them. The choice is ours, and ours only. I'm gonna leave it at that. I went a bit deeper than I intended at the beginning. I was only gonna ask you guys to give me any feedback, please. Thank you all for listening, and I will see you next week.